people describe New Beginning as the most radically diverse places they've ever seen.
Correct. You walk in and you see all these different people with a black senior pastor is itself historic. Something's fun.
I want you to pause a minute and ask, is this the...
The worst experience I had is just being a horrifically disfigured kid going to school. 8th grade, had a real conversion experience of faith. So I go in the boys' bathroom to get cleaned up and I have an epiphany. We live in a broken world. We will not be America if we don't change. I'm not in it to win it. I'm not in it for me. I'm in it for we. And we gotta figure that out.
What would surprise people the most about being a pastor?
Our pain.
If you hadn't been a pastor, what do you think you would have done? What's your biggest regret? Tell me the name of your book. Pastor, are you a good pastor?
Breath prayers can just be reduced to one word. One word. I'm gonna give you 3. Everybody shout, help! Everybody shout, thanks! Shout, wow! That's it. 3 prayers that can change your life. And that the sum total, most of prayers can fall into those categories. And sometimes all we can say is help. And God has to translate what's going on the inside. And the Holy Spirit can take your moans and your groans and translate it to a language that God can understand. Unlike any other time in our lives, you don't have to think about DC and all that stuff. Just think about your family. We're more fractured in our families than we've ever been. All of us know people that we used to be in a relationship with, we don't talk to no more. Because of politics or some cultural issue, or whatever the case is, breach between kids and parents and grandparents and grandkids, between siblings, all kinds of fracture. And here's the promise I'm making to you. Because Jesus modeled it and taught us this. If you can start at the level of listening and sharing stories, you will harness the power that God gives you to redeem and repair and renew some of those broken relationships. This is the remedy. This is what you've been asked. This is the answer to your prayer. Not all of the relationships. I'm not promising you can redeem all of the relationships this way. But I'm saying to you, if they are redeemable, if they are repairable, if there is healing to come, it will happen this way, and it will happen far more than what you can imagine. Go ahead and celebrate that. That's hope. That's possibility.
I've heard people describe Abundant Life, which is your prior church, and New Beginning as the most radically diverse places they've ever seen.
Correct.
Not just racially, but economically,
sociopolitically. That's right.
You have Silicon Valley centimillionaires, and you have people who are really in a place where they may not be sure about how they're going to make it through the next month or 2 months.
Living in halfway houses.
Radically diverse.
That's right.
Radically and richly.
Richly diverse.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And if you ask Pastor Paul Shepherd, who's the founder, he would just tell you it was a miracle.
Right.
He would say, if you asked me to explain it, I couldn't explain it.
Yeah.
In a moment where people are so polarized around race and class and political stuff, is proof that you can build relationships across differences. It's just beautiful, right? It's a beautiful experience. You walk in and you see all these different people. To have such a wide, richly diverse community with a black senior pastor is itself historic.
Right. So take me back. So for people who don't know your story, you were actually born here.
Yep. Born in San Francisco.
Yeah.
My circumstances was dramatically shifted because I broke out with impetigo rash. So it was in my head. Doctor prescribed medicine. Turns out I was allergic to it. And so my mother covers my head to keep her baby from gouging. She uncovers the bandages one day to discover chemical burns. The combination of no air, allergic reaction, literally cooked my scalp. So layers of skin is coming off. And they rushed me to San Francisco General Hospital. They say my heart stopped beating, miracle there. God brought me back. And I had to stay in the hospital for a year because they had to reconstruct my scalp. They had to do it as I grew. And by the time I came out, my parents had divorced.
Did that contribute to the divorce, you think?
Sure. When my grandaunt heard about it, said, you know what, if you can get him to me, I'll keep it in Louisiana. Never really fully healed for a number of years. But the worst experience I had, the more challenging, is just being a disfigured kid going to school and having to psychologically and emotionally deal with that. And my transformation that moved me to where we are today in terms of this building bridges across differences, it started in elementary school. Because in this hyper-racialized culture, I started off as a special needs kid, and I have a white special needs teacher for the very first time. She immediately recognized that I was gifted. She went to bat, took on the school system, the principal, office, school board. We need to get this boy out of here, get him mainstream. And that was the beginning of my attitude changing from feeling like all white people are bad and out to get us as black people and could not be trusted, to beginning to think, no, this woman did something that my black teacher didn't do. 8th grade, had a real conversion experience of faith in my own life. Had a crush on a little girl, and she was dating a big football player, and I started praying that they would break up. This is how I was using my understanding of faith. I went to sit by her, and she started whispering in my ear, whatever, and I'm almost faint. The first time I'm getting some real interest, so I thought, and tap on the shoulder, look up, it's her football player boyfriend. And he says, get up, I get up. I always say it's a fight broke out. Really what happened was he hit me, I hit the ground, it was the end of the fight. So I go in the boys' bathroom to get cleaned up, and I have an epiphany. For the first time, in a real genuine way, I turned to Jesus in my faith and said, look, they say if you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. I don't need you to move any mountains for me. I need you to open some doors. I need some opportunity so that when I graduate, I want 3 things. I want to be on the stage with the honor students. I want to go to college, and I want my grand aunt and uncle to know they have not wasted the best years of their life. I leave the boys' bathroom, go to my library science class. Miss Hollingworth is the teacher. She informs me that she has just kicked me out of the class and transferred me. This is the answer to my prayer. Right. To Miss Gafford's room, who's the toughest teacher in the class, in the school. Well, I got to her class, and she said, you wait outside. I went to wait in the hallway, and she came out and caught me in my collar and pushed me up against the locker with her left hand, took her right hand, shook it in my face, and said, boy, if you come in my class acting a fool like you do the rest, I will kill you. Do you understand? So, anyway, the long and short of it is I go into class in about 15 minutes, despite the warning, I raise my hand. She asks a question. I'm going to say something to crack the class up. She calls on me. I get the answer correct. Everybody's shocked, especially me. She takes, 30 seconds and simply says, boy, if you would go home and study and stop acting a fool, you could be somebody. By the end of the semester, I was in the top 5 of her class. Graduation night, Miss Adcock, the principal, did the honor student piece. Right in that moment, she invites me to come up to the stage. There I'm standing in the center of all the other honor students. She reads this letter, 700 people across the country in the competition. I won first place. I was going to receive an all-expense paid trip to the Republic of China of Taiwan. Turns out to be also 3 days in Hong Kong, representing the country. The place explodes, a standing ovation.
Wow.
My grand aunt is sitting there with my grandmother on the front row, tears running down her eyes. And I look, and the Lord brings back to my memory the prayer that I've prayed. I'm on the stage being honored with the honor students. I'm on my way to college via trip to Taiwan, end up at Grambling State University. And my grand aunt and uncle knew they hadn't wasted their life.
If your doctor has told you to pay attention to cholesterol, listen up. More and more people are looking for gentler ways to support their cholesterol health, and that's where Dose for Cholesterol comes in. Dose for Cholesterol is a clinically backed cholesterol support system that supports triglycerides, LDL, HDL, and total cholesterol. It's just a daily 2-ounce shot that tastes like mango, no capsules, and no powders. It uses ingredients like turmeric, CoQ10, amla, and other plant and mineral forward ingredients. And I only like talking about products on this show that people around me actually use and are excited about. They deliver it right to your door, making it easy to build healthy habits and stick with your routine. They also, by the way, have a lot of great products over there. New customers can save 35% on their first month subscription by going to dosedaily.co/Carlos or entering Carlos at checkout. That's dosedaily.co/Carlos for 35% off your first month subscription.
End up ultimately in Boston, where I end up helping to launch this organization called the Greater Boston Interfaith Organization. Evangelical, conservative, liberal, progressive, joining with Muslims, joining with Jews to create this organization and ultimately help win near universal health care. It was there I learned about the power of hearing each other's stories and breaking labels. And miraculously, in about a year, I landed in California in a church that looked like the folk I was leading across the city in Boston. It just happened to be in Mountain View, California, Abundant Life Christian Fellowship. A growing African-American church, but Menlo Presbyterian Church intentionally infused both financial resources and white people.
You're saying another white church, which was sitting not too far from this small black church out here in California, decided that they were going to partner, essentially mentor, in some ways.
That's right.
Kind of incubate,
infuse.
Yeah.
I have high respect for them. They didn't try to change culture, dictate.
We'll send people from our neighborhood to your church, and you send people from.
And we would diversify, right, and create something that looks more like the kingdom of God. Hundreds of people started to go once they heard a taste of what was happening in Abundant Life. It was so radically different that something sparked.
It actually blossomed, right? It went from less than 200 to over 2,000.
100%. I would say it was a move of God preparing the birth of NBCC for this moment, where people are once again so polarized. Seeing NBCC feels like an anomaly.
Talk to me about the book that you've written.
Name of the book, America's Last Best Hope, Building Bridges Across Differences, the Jesus Way. It speaks to the fact that we are so toxic that if we're not careful, we the people, which facilitates the fact that government exists by consent, is in danger. I felt very prompted to begin to write about what was very clearly God doing something unique in NBCC in terms of how we tried to steward this diversity, seeing it as something to be treasured. And what we were doing was using the principles that I had learned as a Christian and had seen do transformative stuff in Boston as a leader who led across faith traditions. We built the organization trying to say, where is our shared issue? And we started sharing stories, and healthcare became a thing that crossed all of our communities. And we organized around it. So I've seen that work multiple times. And at NBCC, we teach the principle that says disagree but love. So there's some things we're just not going to agree on, but we can prioritize the relationship over these areas that we disagree on.
So it was a memoir in part.
Part a memoir, in part an urgent kind of prophetic word for the country that says we can't keep going the way we're going. We will not be America as we know it if we don't change. Because once polarization and toxicity in this new era, which is reinforced by media, the echo chambers that we now live in, reach a certain level, the people will withdraw their consent for governing. There are no perfect scenarios. There's compromise, there's the ability to agree to disagree on this set of issues, but can we build bridges over here? A kind of commitment that says, I'm not in it to win it, I'm not in it for me, I'm in it for we. And we gotta figure that out. And the Jesus way is because at the end of the day, Jesus' way radically transformed Western society. justice and mercy and grace, all those things. What I say is you don't have to believe in the divinity of Jesus to learn from Jesus. And most people in a poll, if you do a poll of whatever their faith or no faith is, if you ask people about Jesus, he ranks really high. So there are some things Jesus embodied and modeled, these principles that I'm talking about, which is absolutely critical if we're going to build what I call a radical middle. Because right now we're lurching from one extreme to another extreme, and each time we lurch, it creates another reason why people at the other extreme just keep losing just a little bit more hope, a little bit more hope, a little bit more hope.
For us, the Jesus way is how we practice agape love across our differences, beginning with the people closest to us.
Pastor, one of the most powerful stories that you've ever told was talking about almost throwing away your marriage. You said that you almost aggressively were working to undermine your own marriage.
You know, my wife is Rhonda, she's a physician. We met in college, fell in love, 11 months, married. She is and was the epitome of a dream come true. Full of love and compassion and empathy, brilliant mind. So, most of my history shaped by women was women running from me or using me, but never fully committing and loving me. So I was convinced, and this was the voice of my trauma. She drank some kind of potion. She was seduced in some kind of way. And any moment she'd come to her senses, she's gonna wake up and realize, oh, I married you. So I just thought I'd accelerate that process. I just knew she was gonna leave me one day. She's gonna wake up and say, why did I make this mistake? I didn't deserve her in my brain. I didn't deserve her. I didn't have what it took to keep her. I'm not even sure how I got her. I wasn't consciously thinking this, but subconsciously I was trying to sabotage look, you're gonna get out of here, let me just help accelerate this.
And so what finally moved you into a new chapter?
I always tell people who get married, it takes about 7 years to build a marriage. Yeah. Wedding gives you the license, you gotta build a marriage. On average, it takes 7 years. In my case, it was about 10 years. I don't even remember what the argument was, but she said something to the fact, if you would just do X, Y, and Z, you know, we'd be okay. And I remember thinking, is that all it takes? Yes. I said, well, how didn't you say something? She said, I've been telling you for 10 years. And I think that moment reflects that I crossed a threshold of maturity. And if she had stayed with me for a decade, she must really love me, that I could let that one go. Now, why don't I spend the rest of my life trying to be the kind of husband that expressed gratitude for the fact that she really loves me? I feel embarrassed to have to say that it took me a decade, but it did. So she stayed because it was clear in her mind that God had called us to be together. But in the end, it probably had more to do with her faithfulness to God than necessarily the depth of her love for me, although those two things were tied together, which says a whole lot about her.
Pastor, I'm going to change topics. If you hadn't been a pastor, what do you think you would have done?
I would have probably earned a PhD in philosophy. I would have taught a little while. I didn't know about community organizing. Had I did, I probably would have ended up in community organizing, and then ultimately ended up in politics.
What would surprise people the most about being a pastor?
Our pain in multiple ways. One, pastors have to bury people they love. They have to preach those funerals and they have to bury those people. Two, pastors have to preside over congregations where people that they've poured into and developed, suddenly they fall away from the church, they disagree theologically with something the pastor may have said, whatever, they exit, tearing the heart of the pastor. Three, a really good pastor internalizes the pain of his or her people. And so if you're leading a people that's in pain, that's your pain.